Welcome. And I am going to call this video is going to be 18 minutes and 16 seconds long. So, this video is going to be dubbed 420 piece. Hashtag One Piece. Agenda. Shout out to JD Legend for sparking this motivation. And I am somebody that I'm not somebody that looks deep into panels, when they draw it. It's a lot of guys that do videos that I've watched extensively. I'm watching Tekken, shout out to Tekken. He just dropped a new video. When will Kaido return in the story? And I want to touch on that too. So, a lot of these guys, I hear them talk about him, Arthur and Hohara, Library, and all of these guys, Power Vision, King Light, and all, would love to meet you guys and discuss just my thoughts and theories, but we're here. So, few things that I want to just add my 2 cents in. I'll answer the first question. Why 420 piece? Why 420? Well, side note, I have a pacemaker defibrillator. Marijuana, as I talk to my doctors, has always had very great healing qualities. I used to smoke cigarettes heavy. I was an avid tobacco user, especially cigars, so now I'm using hemp wraps, tobacco free. Okay, so that's why it's 420 piece. And I don't think YouTube will take this down. If they do, well, we'll find out. But until then, here are some of the things that I want to discuss. First, I want to discuss Law and Kid. Let's talk about Kid. Eustace D. Kid. Right? I get it that everybody has a story. Everybody's a main character in their life. But we have to look at the context of what One Piece is about. Right? One Piece is about a world predominantly water. Well, you can't really say predominantly water because there's a lot of countries that have decent sized land, but it's a really land of water. Even you have sea trains that run. So he really centered it around water. But also keep in mind that there are so many applications of the real world. Whether you don't want to talk about the American government, the Russian government, the Ukraine government, the Chinese government, the Korean government, you can apply it to the story by using the Gorosei and Marie Joie, and even when you look at what's going on right now with the revolutionaries, right? What did Ivankov say? Why is it that they're going towards their food transports and burn down the storage? I played a game called, was it Mech Warriors, and a lot of the missions that you would get paid to do as a mercenary sometimes is infiltrating the enemy's camp and burning down their warehouse and their food storage, their supplies. Why? Because if you're able to destroy their supplies in a place like Marie Joie, and keep in mind, Dragon has the resources to where down at the bottom he could keep them occupied. Look how many people, Morley, Karasu, the mink guy, Sabo. It was 4 captains from the Revolutionary Army, just 4. And look how much trouble that they gave. Emu tried to blow up the Lucia kingdom to get to Sabo. But Sabo was right in your neighborhood. He was right in your crib. So it goes to show you, Emu is not omnipotent, omniscient. He's not everywhere, anywhere. At the very least, Karasu is a lot more omnipotent than Emu, but I digress. The God Knights, I heard a lot of few people say that the God Knights would be on par with like Yonkos and Admirals, and if everything is going on in the story up to now as it is, then why haven't the God Knights been involved, right? Look at America. You have the Marines, you have the Navy, you have the Air Force, you have all these military personnel that send a direct. Then you have indirect, CIA, right? Okay. CP0. You have the different levels of CP0. I would say the different levels of CP0 as a combination of like the FBI, because you have different internal bureau investigation in the One Piece world. So there's a lot of application in the government. The God's Knights would be the Secret Service. Because remember, Secret Service doesn't get sent on mission. The Secret Service's sole responsibility is to protect the president, vice president, and I would say the top 4 people where the chain of command of the country could go to, or the top 3. Other than that, you get like special assigned guards like CP0. I mean, you got Lucci all the way from Marijoa sent to go assassinate Vegapunk. So you say to yourself, do Marijoa care or think about if anybody else would attack the Gorosei? Are they thinking like, man, what if they come back? Why would we send our top members of CP0? Look what just happened to our other top members of CP0 in Wano. You would believe that they would be like, okay, let's constrain our powers. But just like poker, I'm not a very good poker player, but you don't want to show your face. Gotta have a good poker face. You don't want to put all your chips in one basket. So we'll send our strongest CP0 members to go deal with this assassination with Vegapunk, even though between Marijoa and Egghead Island, we have no idea who they're gonna run into. Ivankov said that they will now know poverty and what it feels like. Correct? The revolutionaries can't focus on fixing the world if the problem still exists. They can't worry about staying in a country and building up their economical standpoint if the problem is there. The snake is still there. So all of their focus have to be on eradicating this. For example, Akainu. What would Akainu do if Marijoa didn't exist? Why isn't that a complete could they, if the Marines were to go against the Celestial Dragons, could a Buster Call even reach up there? Because that's the strongest form of, I guess you could say, attack that the Marines have if you take away the soldiers. Equipment wise would be Buster Call, right? The laser that Emu used, that's on them. So, and nobody knows the recharge and how often it can be done. Everybody's making the assumptions that that's probably what happened to God Valley, probably. So you would have to say to yourself, if you look at all of the countries that exist, and islands that exist in One Piece, how many of them created such a distaste in the government's eyes, in the Celestial Dragon, not even the Celestial Dragons, in Emu's eyes, to where bomb them. Not even a Buster Call. just bomb them. Think about it. They Buster called where Robin's from. Why didn't they Buster call Amazon Lily? Okay. They could have Buster called where Mihawk was at. So you have to look at all of these things as to where whose radar it really matters. Mihawk is strong enough to cut down Marine ships before they could even reach his island. That's why they establish the warlords. So it's the left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing. So then you have the Marines and they're working with the Gorosei. Now the Gorosei, you could call them the chamber, the Senate. You know, you could call them the because the Marines, they're not looking at anybody higher than the Gorosei. Yeah, you have the celestial dragons, and you have everything that exists from Marie Joie down. You even have all these kingdoms. And then you say to yourself, well, what's written in the history of these kingdoms to where, why don't they revolt against the celestial dragons? So then you say it's One Piece is not really a cut dry anime show. The protagonist is not a good guy that wants to change the world. He's not going around defeating hierarchies. If that was the case, he would have joined the revolutionary. It's not something that is it doesn't, it got ingrained in him so deep, because remember, Garp at the same time could have did the same thing to Luffy that he did with Kobe. Could have made him a chore boy. He could have put him on that ship, but he left him with Gaban, a mountain bandit, a group of mountain bandits. Then he meets Shanks, and Shanks becomes his first hero. Whereas you have his grandfather is the Marine hero Garp. His father, which his grandfather didn't tell him about, is the revolutionary hero that's trying to fight for a change. So then you look in our world today and then you say, oh my God, look how much things, you see how I put it out, because now when I get the time to understand, like I'm rolling. Look how much stuff is going on in this planet. And look how many of us, it's 9 billion of us, but yet we're just killing each other, raping each other, kidnapping each other, doing all of these things that you would say go against the human nature. So then you ask yourself 2 questions. If we're all humans, what's influencing us to go against our nature to where we're doing these things towards each other? So then that goes back to the will with the devil fruits, where they're saying, where Vegapunk said, okay, your will can draw you to a certain fruit, or it can draw you to, it could create certain fruits from desire. Right? Okay then. So it's, but then at the same time, Vegapunk can alter. He could refabricate and recreate. Maybe not the exact, like not 9. Maybe as 99. Maybe the closest he could get to is 99%, i.e., with Momonosuke and Kaido's fruit. So let's get. I said I wanted to talk about Kid. I don't think Kid is dead, but I do believe that he is going to learn a really big lesson. He's going to learn a really big lesson. Because you have to understand, what is the point of being a pirate? You're on a ship, number one, that is not invincible. Nobody's ship is none of these pirate ship is invincible. They all can be damaged. But then number two, you're a captain with a devil fruit, right? How many supernovas that are captains don't have a devil fruit? You could say the only people on Luffy's crew that doesn't have a devil fruit is Usopp, Frankie, Zoro, and Sanji. That's 4. So if something happened to the ship, those 4 have to individually go rescue everybody else. Nami. Maybe Nami can make Zeus bigger and rescue them. Law didn't know that. And you have to understand, nobody knew these people would be on their route. Kid didn't know Shanks was going to be there, and Law didn't know Blackbeard was going to be there. But both of them engaged, knowing who they were up against. Why? No retreat, no surrender. That's the pirate's code. Leave a comment below how many pirates you know retreated or attempted to retreat. Luffy, right? So then you have to say to yourself, what is a pirate? How many pirates you know try to retreat? Luffy told his crew, hey, get away. You know, the most important thing is that we need to get away. But Kuma took care of them quick. Big Mom and Kaido. My theory is Big Mom created a homie out of the magma as soon as she got down there. That's my first theory. My second theory is Kaido turned back into a dragon, saved Big Mom, and now he's like, hey, our thing is mutually we're good. This alliance thing didn't work. She's gonna go back to Topland. Katakuri is still alive. There's a lot of people of her crew still alive. Everybody they're still alive. They're still alive. Wano could come back into play. That's my theory. Right now, Garp is gonna die. So that's my theory. This is my video. So I'm gonna put those hashtags and name it. I'm gonna upload some more. And yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for subscribing. Drop some comments below what you think is coming up in the following chapters, and just what's your overall perception of One Piece. Until again, guys, this is Mindful Mike signing